All right, guys, we now welcome on an awesome guest, Dunkirk native. So shout out to CC, baby. We'll start with that. Team Maryland alum, spent his high school career at both DeMatha and Gilmour Academy. Tendy for the Maryland Black Bears and now the Amarillo Bulls and a couple teams in between. But ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Takacs, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you, man.
Yeah. So what we like to do with the local guests, like we said, is kind of take it step by step through your career from the jump. So when did you start playing hockey? Who was the first club you played for? I mean, how did it all get going?
Oh, I must have been 9 years old. My dad was from Massachusetts and he loved hockey. So when I was about that age where he knew I could at least start to learn how to skate and
Right.
not be just falling around out there, he said, yeah, give it a try. I played a bunch of sports growing up, played baseball and stuff like that. So it was fun to, get to experience all of it. But yeah, Bowie playing rec hockey there was fun to learn how to at least skate, and then transitioning the goalie there was awesome. It was a fun time.
Closest rink to Calvert County, man. That's the reason me and
Oh
all the
yeah.
Calvert County boys started playing
Yep.
was driving up to Bowie. Well, did you ever
Every
play
good
it? That's
time.
it might be past your time. Did you ever play a Dunkirk roller rink?
No, I didn't. No,
Oh
never.
shit! Thank God. Holes in the floor. They have cones on the rink, and all the ceiling would come down. It was the nightmare. But that's where we all started
That
back
Is
sounds
in
that
like a
Calvert.
building is
Porcupine
that building
thing.
even up still?
Ceiling fans coming down. Sounds like the
Yeah, it was
Porcupine
like it
thing.
was a world gym for like
Oh, dude, the
15
Fort
years.
DuPont, everyone the thing was you just drop a roll of tape at the top of the locker room and rolls all the way down.
Oh
Yeah.
man, so funny.
Love it. So was it always goalie from the beginning, or did you break in as a skater and switch kind of later down the line? And
Yeah,
then,
other than that rec league, right? You started
yeah,
rec D, you said?
Yeah, it was the 1 year playing rec hockey as a defenseman and playing with just everybody just learned how to skate and stuff like that.
yeah,
And then I don't know, just maybe playing. It was I guess it was definitely playing street hockey. I was like playing with my dad
right.
and stuff, and I'd put on the pads and stuff like that, and it was kind of fun. And my dad was a goalie when he grew up, so he kind of was like, hey, like if you want to try it, go ahead. And I thank him for that all the time
So
because
you
without that, I wouldn't be playing what I am now.
Absolutely, man. So you said, you're playing street hockey, playing goalie. When me and Billman were kids, I mean, we're what, 10 years, 9 years older than you. The goalie in the area was Kolzig. Everyone wanted to be
Mhm.
Kolzig. He had the
Oh yeah.
dope helmet, sick pads. Like, is that age difference? I mean, was Kolzig still the guy, or I mean, who's your goalie when you were growing up? Like, who was your
Oh,
favorite?
my goalie for sure was like Jose Theodore. Like that was probably like the first one that was in the
Okay.
Caps organization. But then when Holby came onto the scene, I just remember him getting drafted and being with Hershey. I knew he was going to be like the stud coming up.
Is that
Kind of
heartbreaking
like
to
how
hear,
it always
Coach?
is with the Caps organization.
Yeah.
They have Vanacek now, so
You
they
don't
just
Yeah.
got a goalie program going down
you
there.
don't realize you're getting old until you start seeing like your old heroes retire. And now
Yeah.
we've got a kid that's 9 years younger than us. Yeah, Cole's like, yeah, sure. Like he was the goat for us, man.
No, I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy. My dad used to tell me stories about how he would like buy a ton of cereal boxes and he'd be able to get tickets to Caps games and stuff like that. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
But back when the team was shit and you could just go to the game for like, I remember me and my dad were going to games back when like Yager was here, and
Yeah.
we'd buy them up in like the top of the 100 for $30, and you just sneak down to the glass by the second
You,
period and you're
you
good.
you could do that at one point in time with a college ID,
Yeah.
which I may have doctored, but you also got a Chipotle burrito and it was like $20.
Yeah.
Wow.
Love it. So building off Bob's question there, is there a tendy kind of past or present you model your game after? Like, is there a certain like, and what kind of goalie are you? A hybrid? Are you a butterfly? Like, how do
I
you
definitely
play?
say I'm like a hybrid, when you're 6'1", 6'2", you're right at that gap where like you're almost considered almost a small goalie. And so like
Yeah.
you want to stay on your feet as much as you can, but obviously like especially with nowadays with guys being able to pick corners everywhere, like they can shoot just as well low as they can high. So it's like you've got to be able to drop down, especially like the side to side stuff like that. You've got to be able to move and be athletic. But for sure, like I would definitely say like Holtby was a big one just because I think like he almost plays just the same style as me is almost like boring where like if you're always on top of stuff, you don't have to make a crazy save. But then when he does, it's like, holy cow, he just made a crazy save.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're not making Dominic Hasek style saves
yeah.
out there.
But then
Too
some of
fast
the times,
stacking.
you got to pull out the flurry and just be out there and be ready to go
Yeah,
whenever you.
everyone loves a stack, man.
Yeah.
Everyone loves a good stack.
So, I mean, we're going to talk about your high school career a little bit. I mean, you've been playing at a high level now the last, 3 years you've been in the North American League.
Yeah.
Then you go to prep school as well. So, like, what was the recruiting process like? I mean, I think it was 3 years at DeMatha, and
Yeah.
then you went to Gilmour. So, was there a decision? I know, Tony knows what he's talking about over there. Like, what was that conversation like?
Yeah, I mean, I remember I was going to Southern Middle, which is in Anne Arundel County, because I live right on the border between Anne Arundel and Calvert, and I was deciding between both Archbishop Spalding and DeMatha, and I knew both coaches really well, both Coach McCauley and
Trenton
Coach
there at the time. Yeah.
Yes, Coach Trenton, and they're both amazing coaches. I would work with them constantly, even after the fact of deciding the high school and stuff like that. But I mean, I knew with DeMatha, I knew the education was going to be there. I knew the success behind like the program, even the hockey program itself. Like I didn't even know this at the time when I was young, but my Bowie coaches growing up, they all graduated from DeMatha, and their kids who I went to and I played Bowie with, we all went to DeMatha together. So it was almost like a brotherhood since I started playing hockey that was just built.
Well, it's what is it? Scholars and athletes. What is it called?
Yes.
Yeah, athletes and scholars.
Scholars, yes.
Gentlemen and scholars.
Gentlemen and scholars, something like
How
that.
could I forget? All of my best friends went to DeMatha. How could I forget?
So talk about your last season at DeMatha. You guys won the WCAC. You make that run to the MAPHL championship game. Unfortunately, fall to Gonzaga there. I think it was a 4-1 game. But talk about that season as a whole. Talk about that team as a whole. And even that championship game. Like, that's a crazy crowd for a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the pinnacle right there when you're in high school, is that MAPHL championship game on a Friday night.
Yeah, that's what you dream of. That's the one game a year that everybody's going to be there for. And I mean, everybody wants to support you, and that was from both Gonzaga and DeMatha. There's always that rivalry. That's the big rivalry in the Washington area. So, I guess it even went back to, even when I started. Tony was really good with me. He knew that I just would develop over time, and he was like, "Hey, you're gonna start on the JV team, the V2 team, the first year," and that was great for me to develop. And then the year after that, we go on and we lose like in the semifinals of the MAPHL, win the WCAC, which was great. But it's always that MAPHL one you want. That's the big guy.
Yeah, that's it right there.
And you go and you're playing with all your best friends, and you're playing against them too, like Bassi for Gonzaga, and Connor Tate, who had left, and Cole Valise and all of them. So, it's always fun because you get your time playing travel hockey, but then you also get your time to support the school you go to.
Would you say Gonzaga is your biggest rival? I mean, who'd you hate the most at DeMatha?
Oh, I probably hated Spalding the most, but definitely Gonzaga was the biggest rivalry. Yeah.
So why Spalding? I guess we didn't anticipate that answer.
I mean, that's always
there's a team you were going to go to if not DeMatha.
It's one of those things where they're not in our conference for any other sports really. So I mean, the hockey is the one thing I have left that they have left that they compete in considerably. And so I would say for sure, like I remember I was like in 8th grade and I would go to that game, and that wasn't even like a championship game or anything, but it was just absolutely packed in Piney Orchard. And you're like, this is what I want to do. Like, you're watching these kids that are just a couple years older than you.
Absolutely. I know that. Did you have a little, honor to defend there for the rest of DeMatha? None of the boys could play him in any other sports. You guys had to take him out in hockey.
Yeah, for sure. It's always the "We Have Girls" chant, but
yeah. So talking about that a little bit. There's plenty of people that you've talked with or played with, and we had Bryce on a few weeks ago. I know that you guys are close. Yeah. You still follow him at all? You stay in contact with him? We're trying to build that chirping fam a little bit here. So.
Oh no, totally. Bryce is like a brother to me. I saw him a couple of times this summer and was skating with him, but he's got a huge schedule and a busy schedule. I understand with that London team and where he trains and stuff like that, and where he's at. Sometimes you're just gonna be like, hey, like okay.
Yeah, it sounds like that kid's not sitting still very much.
Yeah, no, but I was my last year at DeMatha, my junior year, he was a freshman, so he was 2 years younger than me, taller than me, bigger than me, and it was awesome. I knew he was gonna be like another one of the brothers, even though he was kind of brand new to the team, and he was, absolutely skilled then, one of the best in the league then. So and I was driving him to the rink every day, so we you kind of build that connection. He's like,
so transitive property. I mean, you had to rub off on him a little bit there.
Yeah, you gotta teach him the ropes, especially as a freshman.
Yeah, we're big transitive property guys. We're basically D1. We've had some D1 commits on now, so me and Coach are basically D1 transitive property.
Well, we had the whole Brown Kid episode. It was a big brain episode. If you want to call him out, any times he left you to dry at DeMatha or anything?
What's that?
I said, if you want to call him out for something, anytime he like left you out to dry on anything, maybe a 2-on-1 breakaway, he let up.
No, man. I just remember him being ruthless sometimes. Like we'd be up on a team like 6-3, and then he's going down and doing a wraparound goal with like 1 second left, just trying to get another goal. It's like, geez,
savage.
Never had to lay on the horn waiting to pick him up or anything. He's not waiting. You're not waiting in front of the house honking the horn.
Yeah, no. I mean,
all right.
He was good with it. He was good with it. He knew his role.
Somebody you mentioned earlier, I want to kind of bring back up and go into a little more detail, and that's Coach Tony McCauley. Great coach, obviously very well known in the area. Talk about him as a coach more so, and kind of what he meant to your development and what he's kind of like on and off the ice for those that don't know.
Oh, he was a huge part of my, like, I would say definitely my development, because that, it's that age between like coming out of middle school and into high school that you grow that maturity. And for sure, there was a big learning curve there for me. I would say in my sophomore to junior year that he really helped build with me. And I was going through some tough times then, and he understood that, and he was there for me, which I'm forever grateful for. And I don't think I am the man today without Coach Tony McCauley.
Love it.
That's awesome, man. That's what hockey's all about. Building connections. Like I played my last meaningful hockey game like 7 or 8 years ago, and I'm getting wedding invites to junior teammates' weddings, man.
But forever.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. So following up on your high school career, you eventually went to Gilmour Academy. What was that process like? I know that we've got nothing but good things to say about Tony thus far. Was he supportive? Like, I know that he's a hockey mind and understands all that. Like, getting you to the next level is part of that process. But what was it like to leave DeMatha and leave that brotherhood?
No, absolutely. He was very supportive of it. I had been looking for a little bit, and it's always that weird thing where at a certain age they always say, hey, get out. But like, obviously we're trying to fix that with bringing stuff in like the Maryland Black Bears and stuff where guys can stay local and still succeed. But I knew there was a certain point where I knew I could step my game up another level and play at a higher level. And I knew that Gilmour had the same exact pedigree for academics as DeMatha had, but I knew they had a higher level hockey team that played in a great division of prep school hockey, and as well they played in a AAA program. So financially, it was also an amazing thing for my parents as well.
That's awesome, man. So then you did make the jump from Gilmour straight to the North American League, is that right?
Yeah, I played 2 games right at the end of the season, and when I was at Gilmour when the season was over, and then stepped in the next year to full time with the Black Bears.
So were you drafted? Were you tendered? Like, what was that process like? And then the latter half of that, moving on to Odessa.
Yeah. So I was tendered because I was on an affiliate for those 2 games the year before. And yes, it was a tender, which then you just have to make the team after main camp and tryouts and all that stuff. And that team was great. I loved all the guys on it. Played with amazing guys. Hampus Rydquist, who's at Miami now. Yeah. Skoog, who was there for half.
Skoog, he's been on a couple times. He's a goofball, man.
The whole team is just crazy skilled. Even the guys who are still there now, Mountain, Bruich, Sidlowski, they're all brothers to me. So, I mean, I'm so happy for all of them.
And then moving on to Odessa, were you traded there?
Yeah, I was traded. It was like a switch. I think they got like a goalie and a player for it. Yeah, it was a surprising trade, but I was excited because I knew I could go down there and like compete and know that I was going to be facing a ton of shots every game, and I could be the difference maker in terms of whether we won or lost a game.
So I hate to do the like back in my day, and I'd like to preface that I did not play in the North American League, but when I was playing 10 years ago, the South Division was the Wild West, man. It was tough division. There was scraps every night. Like, is the style of play different down there now than it was 10 years ago, or the conference is different from playing from the East to the South? Is there a major difference?
The greatest quote that we always say after every win is it's hard to win in the South, because it is a man's league. Like even if you're a small guy now in the NAHL South, you have to hit, and you have to be ready to get hit. I definitely say there is a huge difference between the divisions. I can't speak for the Midwest or the other like out there region in the West, but I'd definitely say the East is a lot more run and gun with some guys that do have some physical sense, but the South is definitely a lot more defensive and a lot more body to body. For sure.
Oh, then you go up to that, the northern divisions, all those mini kids. It's all stick work, man. Those kids don't hit. It's all stick work.
No, for sure.
I kind of want to go back to the trade you were talking about. I mean, you go from the Black Bears to the Jackalopes, and you kind of said it was shocking, but how much of a surprise did that catch you? But I mean, obviously the team wasn't doing that great that year. I mean, it was like the first or second year of the program.
Yeah.
But you were playing well. You weren't playing bad at all. But I mean, how much of a shock was that to you? Because I mean, I'm sure you enjoyed playing like at Piney Orchard.
Oh yeah, no,
yeah, they were saving a billet. They didn't have to billet you anywhere.
Yeah, it's the best. It was the best place I could have been. You know, it's no one else gets the opportunity to play at home, be 15 minutes from a rink,
right,
and play at a high level of hockey, especially the NAHL. So I mean, in the beginning of the year, I did have some ups and downs. I would agree with that. We were a 500 team, but then right before that was like the December Christmas time, we were on like a 7-game heater. And I remember I was thinking, and I was talking to my dad about it, I was like, we got a break here. It's going to be a little rough after this. And we went got swept once, and we went like 1-1 the next weekend. And yeah, it came as a surprise. It was just one weekend after that, a couple weeks after we had a little break. And I was shocked. I was heartbroken. At least I got to see the guys like one more time before I did have to head down there. But I mean, the transition was quick and easy, and from both ends, it was an easy process.
Well, before you jump in here, Coach, I did want to add one more thing. Like, we're always trying to raise the I'd say the average, hockey IQ in the area, Andrew. And people don't know what the tender process is like. People don't know that we have 15, 16, 17-year-olds that can get traded halfway across the country, man. So I think that goes to show, your and stick-to-itiveness there, right?
Yes, especially with the COVID area, like the COVID part now, it's even worse because there's kids getting bumped up and down every level. You got college kids coming down to play USHL. You got USHL kids getting bumped to the NAHL.
It all depends who's having a season and who's not.
It's flowing. It's constantly. So
it's crazy. So kind of some weird questions here. Why the black pads? I mean, do you find that to have like more swag than the white ones? I feel like you've been wearing black pads. Did you first switch to black pads when you were with the Black Bears?
Yeah, that was my first set in a while. I mean, I might have had a black set when I was with Bowie. That would have been ages ago. But yeah, the black set was pretty cool. I found them on like sideline swap or something like that.
Okay.
Perfect. And they were sweet, all black with red on the side. Knew they were going to pretty well.
So you have no issue, seeing the puck. I know people, white pad, you can see the puck better. No issue.
I've actually heard, I've heard multiple times that it makes me look bigger, and especially only being 6'1", 6'2", hey, you can take all the size you need.
So I guess when it's loose, you can hide the puck better.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's face facts here, Takacs. You're a goalie, so you're a weirdo.
Shit, yeah.
So what are the weird things, or maybe not so weird things, that are normal to you? Any weird, you're talking to your posts, or do you warm up in a different way? What are the things that you get chirped for, being a goalie for?
No, I mean, I definitely say I like to say I'm one of the more normal ones, and every goalie would like to say that and be confident with it. But I mean, there's obviously a couple of things, but like I'm not really a big routine guy in terms of before games. I like to stay nice and loose and stuff like that. I love playing like sewer with the guys before games, just like keep up. That's always fun. I've done that since the DeMatha days. That's always been like the fun thing to do. But like it's always the rituals like all hockey players have, the stick taping and stuff like that. But no, I mean,
but you're kind of cool being around the guys and not just like off isolated by yourself, just doing.
No, yeah, I'm not one of those guys that has to sit and like, train and like stare at the wall and stuff.
You got to touch the dots,
warm up the eyes,
touch the dots, and do all that weird shit.
You get tracking and stuff during warm ups, and you're good to go. You get trained.
This might be an easy one, might be a hard one. Toughest guy or guys, plural, whose shot you've had the most trouble with. I know I hate to say it as a attendee, but is there one guy throughout your career who's kind of been like, when you're facing him, you're like, dude, that guy's got my number. I got to figure something out here. I
definitely say, like, in terms of skill wise, for sure, Skuga's got to be up there as one of the most talented players I've ever played against. Just his release and the way like it comes off his stick is just so quick and pure. And it's like and it's the same thing when you talk about like just the overall skill, not even like a shot basis, but like when he's pulling off the Michigans and stuff like that.
Yeah, did that in his first game at BU.
Like no one sees it, but he's sitting there doing it 100 times in practice behind the net. Every time he gets a rebound behind the net, he's doing it no matter what. Like it's just hysterical. But like at a young age, for sure, I would say Bryce. I knew he was going to be one of those skilled players with a hard shot for sure.
Love it. So kind of another maybe tough, maybe easy one. What, in your opinion, was your best season so far? Is there like one season that it could be like back in DeMatha, it could be now, it could be this season, obviously with the numbers you're putting up, but you were just completely on one. It felt like you were playing the best you ever have.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would say for sure, this year's going to be huge. I've already said to like the guys here that I would put money on it that we would make it to a Robbie Cup this year. We just have that type of we have that type of team. I know if we played well every single night, that we can be a huge contender, especially in the South. But for going for a championship, I know that this team and this organization has done it before, and we can do it again.
I mean, kind of correct me if I'm wrong here, but 5-0, 172 goals against average and 932 save percentage. How are you?
Yep. How are you?
I mean, not bad. Not a bad season.
So just for let the record show.
Going.
Let the record show. He said he would put money down. He has not. If any,
we'll put the money down. We'll put the money down for you.
Yeah. No, the guys quote here is they put the mortgage on it. If they got a bet, they always put the mortgage on it, and I would.
Put the Bills house on it.
This is going to be a new question that I ask every week, I think. But like I said, we're constantly trying to pump up the DMV and bring a little more hockey awareness. Like who are some people, or maybe the one guy that we should be talking to? Is he, locker room prankster, stud hockey player? Like who's a local kid that you think we should have on here?
Ooh. I would love to say like Adam Varga. Have you talked to him before?
No,
I haven't. No.
Local kid. He was here for a couple years, played for Washington Little Caps, very skilled player. Also in the OHL, I believe, still right now. Reed Liebold from the Black Bears, awesome guy to talk to. I would say any of the Maryland Black Bears players, they're all going to be characters. Mountain's an awesome guy.
Yeah, we got to get Mountain. We had the new kid, Hunter McCoy. No, we had Hunter McCoy on last week. We got to get Mountain.
Okay,
yeah. 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard he was a really, really nice guy, but I never got to meet him. So,
right on. We'll have to hit up Adam Varga. I'm looking at him right now. He's
doing it, but we do need to get Mountain. He had a hat trick last game.
Yeah, no, he had a big night.
Hey, with chirp and bump.
Yeah.
Bob. So last question for me is kind of a simple one, but what's next? What's the ideal situation for Andrew Takacs next year? Is it NCAA? Is it Canada? Have you been in any talks with teams or schools or anything?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously with the COVID, I mean, it sucked for a little bit that I was not like, not playing games, stuff like that. Like when I came here, this was the first set of games I had played in a year.
Right.
This was like my first real game. So it was awesome to get back here. And obviously like those college recruiting is starting to build and stuff, but like I'm just trying to keep building my resume and not even think about it right now. I think it's still too early. I know I still have another year, and obviously that's an amazing thing to have with the whole COVID situation.
For sure.
But it's just finding the right like situation, whether that's next year I go to college or the year after that. I don't think it's a crazy rush right now, especially with all the COVID stuff.
And you have another year after this one, correct?
Yeah, I was luckily I wasn't one of those kids and that's what I'm so thankful for with Gilmour. I didn't have to repeat a year going to another prep school, so my grades were always there, so it was okay.
So another full year of eligibility,
A's, baby.
Look out, North American League.
Yeah,
love it. Yeah, especially with the way you're playing. Then I feel like options are going to be open. But yeah, it's more concentrating on what you're doing now. Bobcat, what you got?
Dude, last thing I gotta say, man, is let's make a trek to the Robbie here. We'll be following you. Maybe we'll chat with you, give us a little playoff preview here towards the end of the year, man. But love having you on. Love growing the game, and go Bulls, baby.
Oh yeah, always here to grow the Maryland hockey. I mean, especially when you grow up here and it's not as big as something like football or basketball. You just you got that family.
Just even looking at the jump from, like I said, I've said it the third time now, but we're less than a decade apart, and this is just leaps and bounds the growth that the game has had in this area.
Absolutely,
so keep it on.
Absolutely.
So there it is, Andrew Takacs. Thanks again for coming on, man.
No, thank you so much. Had a blast here. Thank you.